That is one thing. In the last 10 years, one thing I've learned is you teach less. Don't try to teach. I'm still learning how not to teach. And in the process, if you guys learn something, that would be great. Today I'm not well to a certain extent because my head is not here. It's in India. Right? It's in Australia, I'm sorry. I'm in India. So my son actually had an accident today morning. Yeah. So he actually hit someone and there is a police case against him. So, and I can't do anything sitting here. But thankfully, the guy he hit with the car, he was on a bicycle. So he called the ambulance and the police and everybody. So fortunately, the guy is okay. He's hurt in the knee, elbow, head, but nothing serious. So right from the morning, like you'll say, you'll understand. Your parents will have an inkling if something is wrong. So I don't call him every day morning. Today is the first day after I have come. I called him in the morning. There's something is wrong, and he tells me this story. So my mind is there, but the show must go on. Okay, so we'll still try to perform as we go on. Right? Just I told you so that you don't, you get to compare what happened yesterday and why this man is behaving like this today. But anyways, let's get along. I think you have had a long session with Stanzin, and I just heard what are the things that you have covered, and quite a number of things in terms of service quality model, Michael Porter's five forces theory, value chain analysis, blue ocean strategy, red ocean strategy. And it's a lot, It's I teach these four things in 4 weeks, in 4 sessions. But these 5-day courses are like this. You have to go through a lot of things in a short span of time. The purpose is to make you aware about a number of things. And when you go to the word job market, when you start your own business or you work for someone else, you will see that some of these are applicable in some context. So that's the purpose of these short duration courses. That's why we try to do a lot. Not everybody will remember everything, but when you reflect, you will see that something is useful in some context, right? That's the whole idea of, right? One of the things, let's start with what Stanzin did today morning. I was not in the class, but now here that she did service quality. So let's start with service quality. So what was the purpose of service quality? What did you learn in service quality? Say it again. We'll take the mic. There is a mic now. Where was the mic? Oh, you take that mic, yeah? No, whoever is responding. We want the mic to the person who is talking. Yeah, go ahead. So what did you learn in service quality?
Expectations and experience of the consumer.
Anyone else? What did you learn in service quality? Expectation part is spot on. Anything else? Anyone else wants to give it a go? No. One thing you take today, you can never satisfy a customer. It's a moving target. Who are customers? Customers are human beings like you and me. We are all customers. And one unique character of human beings, you know what? Human beings are never satisfied. Because the day you are satisfied, innovation doesn't happen. Right? I think to me, dissatisfaction is the starting point of innovation. If you are unhappy with this water, you will think of how can I create a better water? That's innovation. So satisfaction is a moving target, but still companies are chasing satisfaction. But service quality is not satisfaction. Satisfaction is an outcome of service quality. Am I right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Sranzin, right? So satisfaction is an outcome. Service quality, say it again? No. I'm just asking. So everybody was in the class. What is service quality? It's the gap. between what customers expects and what it gets. That's service quality. It's the gap model. So I expected a good cup of coffee. Did I get that good cup of coffee? If you get that good cup of coffee, then your expectation and your perception are close. Your job as a service manager is to make that gap as small as possible. Smallest is the gap, happiest is your customer. Largest is the gap, dissatisfied is your customer. Right? So your expectation must always be less than perception, so that the difference of P and E is positive. P is perception, E is expectation. It's a mathematics, simple mathematics. P minus E. If it is greater than 0, you are satisfied. If it is less than 0, you are dissatisfied. Right? And when are you very, very happy? Delighted. You're delighted. You asked for a coffee, they gave you a cookie. You remember my cookie yesterday? Then you're not happy. You're delighted because you expected good cup of coffee. They gave you a good cup of coffee, but they gave you a cookie also. So it's not satisfaction. Now it's called customer delight, which is a higher level of satisfaction. Ask you a question. In this digital world, where everybody is sitting with a time bomb in your hand, I call this a time bomb, not a mobile phone. Do you think that service quality model works? So let's start with digital transformation. Do you think that in the world where mobile phone is omnipresent, you cannot imagine your life, your business without a mobile phone today? Do you think service quality still is useful? You know, when service quality was discovered for the first time, 1989, internet was a big thing. So it was not developed for digital services. It was developed for physical services, like a physical bank, a physical store. The moment you have an online bank, an online store, service quality doesn't work. But the fundamental principle works. At the end of the day, you expect something, you get that. If you do that, you're happy, regardless of physical or digital. So you must have done the Rater scale, right? Did you do the scale, Stanley? Gap model. Did you do the serve call scale? So serve call, the acronym is Rater. You remember the scale. If you don't remember the scale, remember the Rater, R-A-T-E-R. First letter of all the 5 dimensions gives you the word Rater. You remember how the dimensions of serve call are. R-A-T-E-R, Rater. You just have to put all the first letter of all the 5 dimensions. So let's get to the digital transformation. And this is the perfect way or leeway into digital world of service management, and how digitalization and technology is changing the dynamics of the service world, dynamics of how you manage service. Does it make sense? How is happening? What is happening? So we will revisit value creation today a little bit, because yesterday we did value creation. We will give you an idea about something which we call as service encounter. You know, encounter is happening at Indo-Pak border. Encounter is happening at Indo-China border, right? We are not talking about those encounters. We are talking about the encounter between a customer and a company. That's also an encounter. But that's a service encounter. So your job as a service manager is to optimally manage the encounter between a customer and a company. Does it make sense? Because yesterday we learned. What is the key takeaway from yesterday? No. That products and services are different. And that's why your government has funded this course. If there was no difference between a product and a service, if there was no difference between managing this bottle of water and managing a hospitality business, there was no need for this course. So the fundamental thing we learned yesterday was, among all other things, is product management is different from service management, because services are different from products based on 4 characteristics. What are those? Give me the acronym. IHIP. IHIP. You know, acronyms are easy. Intangibility, heterogeneity, inseparability, perishability, right? And that forms the foundation of service management. Are you with me? Right? So let's have a quick look about like what are the different forces that are changing how we manage services, right? So there are three key things that is happening, which is changing the service world. Anyone who is a service customer here? A customer of a service company? Everybody should raise your hand. Only one person raised the hand. Oh no, I'm the only customer. No. You have paid to come and study at University of Ladakh. You are all customers of University of Ladakh. Period. Who has not paid and studying here? So you are all customers of University of Ladakh, and it's the university's responsibility to make you happy. Right or wrong? I told you at my previous university we had a committee on student experience, and I was an integral part of that committee. We used to brainstorm how to help our customers. We used to treat each and every student as a customer. It doesn't sound good, but at the end of the day, that's the truth, right? Because the day students stop coming to the universities, what we need to do is we need to close the doors of universities. Revenues are not coming, right? So there are three forces that are changes. One is technological trends, two geopolitical, and three socio-economic trends. But in this classroom, we don't have the time and the scope to go through all the forces. If you look at what's happening between Indo-Pak, Indo-China, people are saying they're going to war. This is all because of trade. There are 100 reasons, 100 media channels will give you, but there is only one reason for which everybody is fighting, and that is trade. We are not getting into that route. Our job is to understand how technology is impacting how you are going to manage a service tomorrow or today, right? How are you going to do it? So we will look out of these three forces. We are emphasizing only on technological trends. Any one technology you think which is changing your way of learning? AI. Who uses AI to learn? See? Right? And what type of AI do you use? Right? You know, you'll be surprised. When I joined ECU, Edith Cowan University in 2023, middle, somewhere later in 2023, that was, they offered me a full professor's position. And whenever you joined any Australian university as a full professor, they ask you to give a professorial lecture. And in the professorial lecture, I had 350 participants. And I asked this question: what is AI to you? You know, everybody says ChatGPT. AI is much more than ChatGPT. Hey, ChatGPT is just one form of AI. As I say, you are sitting on a time bomb mobile phone. It's listening to you every second of the day. Right or wrong? It's tracking you. Google knows about you more than your parents know about you. Right or wrong? Which cafe you go, which boyfriend, girlfriend you're walking along, everything Google knows. Which cafe you went, which ice cream parlor you went, which bar you went, Google knows. You will come home and you will tell your friend, "मैं तो मंदिर गया था." Right? Right? But Google knows you. Courtesy technology. So there are some commonly used technology: artificial intelligence, no brainer; machine learning, right? Physical robots is not uncommon in many parts of the world, including India. Robotic process automation. A number of banks uses RPA solutions. Chatbots. Yesterday we discussed chatbots, right? And the list goes on. You can try to belong to the dinosaur world. You're more than welcome. But to be in the modern world, you need to befriend technology. If you are not with technology, God can only save you and your business. Am I right? Right? So what's the future of technology in managing services, right? Let's have a quick look about what's happening in the world today. And let's take some examples. AI robotics is there. We cannot go through all of this, but recently we did some research with one of the largest hospitals in Western Australia. And this project was about how AI is impacting healthcare sector, right? And we are working with MDI Gurgaon as well as one of the largest hospital in the NCR region as well, that the best robotic arm surgeon is in that hospital. So we are trying to work with the hospital, the Australian hospital, the Indian university and our university. There are 4 partners here to understand whether if there is a need, would you prefer to go under the knife of a robot or a human being? I ask you this question. I was traveling to India 2023. Suddenly I had a tummy ache, went to the hospital, they said, you need surgery, we need to remove your gallbladder. I said, that's fine, remove it. I had a choice, a human or a robot. I chose human. I give you this option. What will you choose? Human? Who will choose a robot? No one. Why? Trust. So trust in technology is the key thing. Tomorrow, if we are able to tell people that, hey, that robot can do a better job than a human, probably you can. But that's not the solution. Research has found out that it's neither the human nor the technology. It's human and technology. So this person is so successful because he is in the background, he operates the robot, and robot operates the human being. Because science tells that if a robot makes an incision in your tummy, it damages your internal organs less than when a human hand makes an incision in your body. Because I had after surgery I had complications. Because my surgeon disturbed my internal. Your chances of survival is better when a human works with technology, right? And that's the reason this guy is so successful. And this is not just one example of managing a hospital, right? Can you have a robot working in a hotel? Yes. Say, for example, I am at La Cruz Hotel, right? And staying. There are a whole heap of humans who is serving. I can always remove all the humans and have 2 robots. One at the help desk, one in the kitchen, one in the laundry. And that's all, job is done. I don't need. What is the danger of doing that? What is the danger of doing that? No humans in La Cruz Hotel. Only robots. What is the danger? What is the danger? Come on. You're all young people. You're living and breathing technology. Huh? What is the danger?
अचानक खराब हो जाना.
अचानक खराब हो जाएगा. Yeah. Technology can go wrong. And so can humans. So can humans, right? Technology can be more precise than a human being. But one good thing about human beings is, human being has a beating heart, which technology does not have. And we have learned that if you have a heart, you have something called empathy. And in service management, if you don't have empathy, you are not managing your service. So empathy, you still need humans. So the biggest debate in every economy today is, technology is going to kill the jobs. Right? But at the same time, research shows that technology is better than humans at doing a large number of things. So can we figure out a way where humans and technology can work together? What is humans good at? Showing empathy, serving. What is technology good at? Processing, data analysis, algorithm. If these 2 people work together, this world will be a better place to live. Right?
Yes.
You want to say something? It's working. It's not working? Okay. Not working? Oh. But I'm loud enough, you can hear me. Right? So we learned valuation yesterday, right? Now I'll give you an example. How many of you have used taxi services in your life? Taxi. Taxi, you understand taxi? And how did you use it? Uber, Ola. Thank you. And how did you do that? Uber, Ola is just the name of the brand. Uber, Ola is nothing, it's the name of the brand. How did you book it? Online is a thing of the past. Am I right? Websites are going to a dinosaur. It's all about app now. So you used a mobile app, right? Anybody else who ever booked a taxi without a mobile app? Why are you laughing? I booked, when I was growing up, there was no Ola Uber. I'm sure sir has booked taxi, right? Right? When I came to Australia 2014, there was no Ola Uber in Australia. I needed a taxi to go from the airport to my hotel. I had 2 kids and a wife. Right? What do? I hail. Usually you hail a taxi. But think about today. Nobody hails a taxi today. They take their phone out. Tick, tack, tack. Taxi at your service, sir. Which one do you prefer? Hailing, calling, or apping? You want apping, right? That's the change happening today, right? And that's only taxi. Think about purchase, right? The other day I was texting my daughter, She goes to a Catholic school in Perth. And I was texting on WhatsApp. And she's not responding. So in the evening I called her home. I call her Mama lovingly. Mama, you are not responding to my WhatsApp. Who uses WhatsApp, Dad? I said, man, WhatsApp is for old people. I said, then what do you use? Snapchat. Instagram? No. Snapchat. Right? I don't have Snapchat. So I said, probably when you talk to your father, please use WhatsApp. Because I don't fall into that age category to be on Snapchat. How many of you use Snapchat? Right? So, as I told you, most of you are like my son's age. Right? I don't look too old. But my son is very young, okay? So, why is Uber so successful is my next question. Why is Uber so successful? Why is the taxi unions shouting against Uber? Say it again. It is simple, it is friendly, it is cheaper. Right? So from my home to airport in Perth, on a traditional taxi, it cost me $80. When I use Uber, it cost me $45. And when I use Didi is a Chinese brand, DIDI, it cost me $30. Why the hell do I need to call hail taxi or traditional taxis? Right? In Bengal, they call Kalapila. You know Kalapila? Right? So Uber. There are so many other companies. Airbnb. How many of you have used Airbnb? Airbnb? Do you know what is Airbnb? You don't know Airbnb? शर्म आनी चाहिए. नहीं आनी चाहिए. You will know. The more you travel, the more you know, and the more you learn. That's the beauty of travel. You learn. Airbnb. Google it. You have all the phones. What is Airbnb? You can book your, not home. You don't book home. You book holiday homes. You book accommodation. Right? Now think about 20 years ago when there was no Airbnb. I remember 2010 was the first time I flew from India to New Zealand. for a conference. That was the final year I was submitting my PhD thesis. And I needed a place to stay. There was no Airbnb. And I was a student. And you know what is duty about students? Particularly PhD students? They're poor. Most PhD students are poor PhD students, right? So you always need a cheaper place to live. So this bed and breakfast concept is not new. Bed and breakfast is there for 100 years. They will give you a bed and they will serve you breakfast in the morning. Airbnb took that concept, created a platform. How many hotels and accommodations Airbnb own? Huh? More than millions Airbnb own. I repeat my question. How many hotels Airbnb own? Zero. They don't own a single hotel, a single room. So what is their business? They are using digitalization to bring buyers, sellers. I call it the eBay of the accommodation of the hospitality world. What does eBay do? It brings buyers and sellers together. Airbnb does the same thing. So not millions of hotels, zero hotels. They don't own any hotels, right? Nike Plus we did yesterday, you remember? These are all examples. Now let's come to some Indian examples. You know Lenskart? You know Mintra? You know Zomato? You know pepperfry.com? You don't know pepperfry.com? It's one of the most highly successful online startups in India in the last 10 years. I know about India more than you know about India. That's all right. Pepperfry.com, the beauty is, it's the first company in India which made furniture buying possible in the online world. I remember, how do you go and ask your parents, how did you buy this dining table? How do people usually buy furniture? They go and visit a store, you see 10 dining tables, then depending on your house and your taste and your budget, you choose one. That's just one way of doing business. The beauty of business is it's multi-layered, multi-pronged. What did pepperfry.com do? They gave Indians another way of buying a furniture online. You can buy a jeans online, a shoe online. Buying furniture like 50,000 rupees, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, sometimes 5 lakhs. How many of are here comfortable buying a furniture item from pepperfry.com? Supposing you want to buy a study chair, would you go to pepperfry.com to order it, or would you go to your local store in Leh Market? You'll go to the local store. Why? More options. I suggest everyone must go to pepperfry.com and check out the options. N number of options. But still people are not going. Why? Huh? Take the mic, please. You have just there, yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Turn it on.
Delivery is unavailable here.
Delivery is unavailable here. Yeah, even Amazon does not deliver. We wanted to get a book. Stanzin told me Amazon doesn't deliver. It's a geographical problem. But suppose you are in a metro city or in a tier 2 city. Would you go and buy an online furniture? No, sir. A young person says, no, sir. Think about my father. You would never go. I don't know about sir, whether sir wants to order something from pepperfry.com. Why people don't want to buy a furniture online? Anyone? Trust, quality, anything else? Price? टूटा भी हो सकता है. Reliability. You just now learnt in Stanley's class, right? Service quality, reliability, right? Then how are they so successful? And Indians, there is very unique quality of Indians. You know what? Regardless of our religion, our region, There is very unique quality about Indians. Indians first like to feel the product before they pay for the product. Most Indians. First they will touch it, feel it, see it, 10 things. Then they will say, "Acha theek hai, main ye leta hu." They will pay it. Right? And I can tell you from experience. Because I'm top to bottom Indian living in Australia. Right? But I've not changed a bit. I had to change to acclimatize in an Australian culture, society. When I'm there, I'm an Australian. When I'm here, I'm an Indian. Right? I wear my Indian sleeve very proudly, even in Australia. Right? So, how can you convince customers, is the question, to buy furniture from pepperfry.com? Anyone interested, I can share my case study. We published it at Harvard Business Review on pepperfry.com. None of the Indians wrote a case study from Indian universities. So another Indian who works outside India wrote a case study about the most successful online furniture company. It's a beautiful case study. So how do you convince people, hey, come online, buy from me, furniture toota nahi hoga. Right? Right? So what did they do? They started opening pepperfry.com studios. So at airports, at shopping centers. It's not a furniture store, it's a studio. It's a design concept studio. You go there and they will show you using technology how your living room will look like with that dining table, with that sofa, corner sofa. And then you can visualize. And then they will say you, if ye toota hai, I will give you a refund or a return or a replacement. So I'll give you service guarantee. The moment I give you service guarantee, I'm happy to give my credit card details and pay for it. Same thing Lenskart is doing for lenses. How many of you have bought a glass from Lenskart? One person, right? Only one out of the entire class. Why? It's because our eyes, right? I want to go to a physical doctor who will see. Most of the times you don't need to see a doctor. You just need to see an optometrist, right? Who is not a qualified doctor, right? And there's a lot that Lenskart has in the background, courtesy technology and AI, that you can safely go. Does it make sense? So what is the moral of these stories? What is the moral of the story? What are we trying to achieve through these examples? What are we trying to achieve? What? See, खुद बात करने से नहीं होगा, सबको सुनाइए. Mic लीजिए. Whoever wants to speak, use your mic. Yeah, you wanted to speak?
Adaptation of the technology.
Adaptation. First adoption, then adaptation. So adoption of technology, there are two parties. First, the customer and the company. Both the parties need to adopt. Are you with me? So pepperfry.com has adopted. Uber has adopted. Now it's our turn. If customers don't adopt it, that's your challenge. So how do you manage your service then? Convince them, give them service guarantee. Tell them that if there is anything wrong, I'm there. I cover your back. That's the job of a service manager. Are you with me? Shall we move on? So one of the things that most of these guys do is try to create engaged customers. Right? How many of you have bought anything online? What did you buy? Books? Shoes? Anything else? Like phones? Yes? Kitchen accessories? Do you cook? Do you cook? Beautiful. Right. And what did you do after you made the purchase? Yes? Yes, you check the product, you use your kitchen knife, it nicely slices, so it's a perfect thing, right? And then what do you do? Feedback. You have enough time to give feedback. How many? You have enough time to give feedback. How many of you give feedback if the product is good? 2, 3. Let me ask you another question. How many of you give feedback if the product is bad? Suddenly, hands rise, right? You know why? Because research shows that negative word of mouth is more powerful than positive word of mouth. You tell 5 people if they have a good experience, but you tell 15 people if you have a bad experience. So I always advocate and advise companies and students that look out for negative word. Positive word like, if I am happy, why do I need to tell the world? But if I am unhappy, then I need to tell the world. मुझे दुख हो रहा है. When you do write reviews, what are you doing? You don't write reviews just like, I'm so happy, I will go and write reviews. When you make a purchase, in next 2 to 3 days, you get an email from your company. How was your purchase? Can you rate us on a scale of 1 to 5? Right? Some of us ignore, some of us write it. What are they trying to do, the companies, by sending you an email? They are trying to engage with you. So there are 3 distinct phases in a customer's journey. Make a note of this, please. Pre-purchase, purchase, and post-purchase. Pre-purchase, purchase, and post-purchase. Customer engagement is critical at all the stages, more so in the post-purchase. Right? How many of you use Myntra? App, website, right? I often use booking.com. Whenever I travel, that's my partner. Either booking.com or agoda.com. And now I have app, I don't use website. Suppose I have booked a flight from, say, Perth to Mauritius. I'm going to a conference in Mauritius in July, and I just booked my flight because that's the most expensive part of your trip. So I booked that first. And then I'm quiet. I know hotels are too many. Every 2 to 3 days, there is the ping on my phone at the top bar. Booking.com says, I give you 9% discount on some of the best hotels in Mauritius, but for next 5 days. I ignore it. Then Agoda ping, because Agoda and Booking.com was linked, right? Agoda says, okay, you're going to Mauritius, we can help you find a hotel. So we booked a hotel. These guys are tracking you. So you got the flight, you got the hotel. Now you need to spend time in Mauritius, right? You go for work, but you do also need to find time to see the place. So they said, okay, we can make you a beautiful holiday package. You want to see Mauritius? We have a 5-day plan. What are they doing here? What are they doing? They are engaging with you. They are tracking you based on the app. And they are moving along with you from pre-purchase to purchase. And they are trying to sell everything they have. Right? They have flights, they have hotels, they have accommodation, they have all the leisure activities. So before coming to Ladakh, I told Stanzin, I have to see something. So I usually use an app called Viator. You can try Viator. Any country you go, you can find a guide at a very reasonable price. A personal guide or a group. So Viator or Get Your Guide. So I found one and I shared with Stanzin. Stanzin said, I will find somebody here. I said, that's fine. Then I'm happy, right? So she did find someone for me. But technology is transforming your every stage of purchase, yours and your customers. And you need to engage with your clients at each and every stage of their purchase journey. Most companies who evaporate away from the market means they die. They lose the connection with the clients. They are transactional. You remember what we learned last day? If you want to manage services, you need to be relational. And engagement is your tool to build a relationship. Your partner, your wife, your husband will forget you if you don't remind them, I still love you. Right? I'll take you out on a holiday. You need to engage. Otherwise, my marriage would not have lasted 22 years. Every day we need to remind each other, we still need. You need to do the same thing with your customers. Engage with your customer. Shadi ke baad to zyada se. Shadi is what? The customer has now made a purchase from you. That's the shadi. That's the beginning of the relationship. And after that, your work becomes even more important. Because if you are transactional, then customers will find another partner. Right? If I'm not relational, my wife will find another partner. Period. Right? Or I will find another partner. It works both ways. Does it make sense? So that's the importance. The technology makes it easier to engage with your clients. Any questions so far? Why is engagement? If anybody wants to work or know more about engagement, we have done about half a dozen papers on customer engagement. You just need to go to my Scholar Google and you can find out those papers, okay? So you can see. And this is what we have discussed in the last 45 minutes. This inverted triangle covers the entire discussion. Does it make sense? From transaction to relationship to engagement. So yesterday we gave you the need to move from transaction to relationship. Today we give you a tool that you move from relationship to engagement. Any questions, comments on this? But why is customer engagement so important is the question. And that's why you need to read a little bit of the research, but I know you don't have time. So we've found some reasons that if you engage with your customers, and marriage is a perfect example because a lot of service management literature and practice links back to human-human relationships. We learn a lot from human-human relationships in social psychology, personal psychology, and try to implement it in business. Who wants a disloyal partner here? Anybody who has a partner here? Don't be shy. You have one. I know. I met your husband. I have a partner come wife. Right? Anybody who has a partner, you will have sooner or later. But in any partner that you will ever have, you will be attracted by their beauty or intellect or money. These are the three things I know. But you will always expect one thing from your partner: loyalty. Same thing for customers in a service business. We always want them loyal. We don't want, as Airtel, my clients going to Jio. Right? We did long ago when I was a doctoral student a project for Jio. At that time it was called Reliance Communications, or operated by the younger brother, not the older brother. Jio is managed by the older brother. Right? And their problem was people were not buying Reliance Communications SIM. Or even if they were buying, they were quitting. They were moving to others in southern India. And I was doing my PhD in Hyderabad. So we did a project to identify why. And it's a problem. If your customers are like butterflies, then you have a problem. You know what is the beauty of a butterfly? Yes, butterflies keep hopping from one flower to the other flower to the other flower. So if your customers are like butterflies, you have a problem. So customer engagement helps you to make your customers loyal. It brings them back. It advocates about the brand. So anyone, say, I have a large number of friends there in Perth, from Germany, from Ireland. So one day one person said, Sanjay, do you know any good Indian restaurant in town? I said, how many you want? You give us 3. I gave them 6. How is the food? Then I gave them a restaurant called Chakras. is one of the very high-end restaurant in Perth, Chakras. You know what is the meaning of Chakras? What is that? Yeah, the five centers, the energy points in your body. They create food which is beneficial for all the 5 points in your body. Very expensive food. And I always advocate, अगर आपको अच्छा खाना खाना है चक्रा जाओ. Why do I do that? अच्छा मिठाई खाना है मेला जाओ. These are all Indian restaurants in Perth. Right? अच्छा तंदूरी चिकन खाना है तो Two Fat Indians जाओ. Because I'm an ambassador for these brands. I have used them multiple times. Right? When you and your husband or you and your wife work, one thing you don't have at home is food. Right? You don't have time to cook, so you always find. So if you engage with your clients, if your customers won't leave you. And this is applicable to business, this is applicable to entrepreneurial business, this is applicable if you are also a manager. Does that make sense? So loyalty is the holy grail of service management. If you don't have loyal customers, you don't have business. Full stop. Any questions, comments on this? So you need to figure out how you can use the technology to engage with your clients. Right? How you need use the technology to engage with your clients. For example, I'll give you this. I told you the shoe that I'm wearing is from a brand called Flourshim. Right? I bought the shoe online, and after that I am after another shoe. Similar type but tan color. Tan is a color. I found that, but the price was a bit expensive. Around $225, $30. I browsed, I came out, didn't buy it. When I was in the plane, just logged in, Flourshim sent me an email. You were looking at your favorite shoe, $50 off on your shoe. Make a purchase in the next 5 days. Now, there are two ways of looking at it, one a positive way and one negative way. Negative way is it's a pushy message. But it's not for everybody. It's for Sanjit. Because Sanjit was looking at that shoe. So I don't want Sanjit to go to another brand. I want to hold on to him. Instant $50 discount. Did I buy? No. I will go back and probably I'll buy. Right? So that's the beauty of using technology. Because it's tracking. You remember the cookies. It's tracking me. What am I doing? Which page am I looking at? All of that is important for you. Right? One more thing and then we'll probably break. What is a service encounter? Anyone? What is an encounter? I just now told you what is an encounter. It's happening at the Indo-Pak border. It's happening at the Indo-China border. Those are encounters. What is a service encounter? What is an encounter in the context of service management? Take the mic, please. I can't hear you. See, whenever you are given an opportunity to take the mic, take it. Not everybody gets the opportunity.
A relationship between company and a customer.
It's not the relationship. Relationship is the outcome. Encounter is the starting point of the interaction. You think about your first date. It's like the first date with a customer. Right? No joke. It's like the first date with a customer. The company does everything to get the customer. That's what we do when we are on a date. We only praise our partner. You're very beautiful. You are awesome. You're the best. So encounter is all about interaction between a customer and a company. Full stop. Right? Service encounter is about a dyadic interaction between me, the company, and you, the customer. What is happening at the moment here is an encounter. Do you agree? You are my client, I'm your company. As I told you yesterday, I always treat myself as a one-man company. So I am delivering a service to you. You are getting my service. We are interacting. That's service encounter. What is your job as a service manager? To make this encounter a happy encounter. Does it make sense? How can you make that encounter a happy encounter? How can you make that encounter a happy encounter? Like yesterday, sir gave me a beautiful example. I remember, I'm a keen observer, He gave me an example that when in a childhood, you go and get rice, and the grocery wala or the dukan wala will give you a little more rice. You ask for 4 kilo, he will give you 4 kilo 100 or 4 kilo 200. The 200 gram is his way of making you happy. You figure out what is your cookie, what is your 200-gram rice. That's up to you. Does that make sense? Remember my cookie example, it will not fail you. Always give the customer a cookie. Now it's your job, depending on your sector, what is that cookie? Florshim gave me that cookie of $50 to buy that next issue. Grocery wala never went to an MBA school, but he understands the importance of cookies. You are coming to a college to learn. Figure out what is that cookie that makes your customer happy. Right? Any comments on this? So this is called moments of truth. For example, I told you about this cafe, Lavender, in the Leh town. I went there to buy a coffee. Right? All I needed was a good cup of coffee. That's all. I'm not sitting. I'm not enjoying an environment. I need the functional value. And that is called moment of truth. The moment of truth is not making the coffee. You ordered the coffee, the barista made the coffee. The moment of truth is when I take the cup, put it in my mouth. That's the moment of truth. Right? You feel happy. And I would know in the first sip if the coffee is good. I was having a discussion with sir. In the first sip, I can tell you whether the scotch is a good scotch or the coffee is a good coffee. Right? Scotch is a whiskey, by the way, coming from Scotland. Right? So the focus is primarily on humans, but you need technology as well. Right? Your job as a service manager is only to create moments that make your customer happy. But who can create moments? Technology cannot always create good moments. It's always the human. What is the golden principle we learned yesterday? Golden rule of service management. Yeah. यार आप लोग भूल बहुत जल्दी जाते हो. What is the golden rule yesterday we learned? Happy employee is equal to happy customer. So the missing link in the service encounter equation is this employee. How can you make the employees happy? Is critical. Because it's the barista who is going to make the coffee. But if you are not making that barista happy, if you are not paying him well, if you are not having the work environment well for that barista, then that barista is not going to make a good cup of coffee. Does it make sense or not? You talk to 10 Uber drivers. 9 out of 10 Uber drivers are unhappy. You know that or not? Just Google it. Because as a researcher, I have a habit of asking. So I talk. 9 out of 10 Uber drivers are unhappy. You know why? Because after every 100 rupees that you pay, they get probably 15 or 20 rupees. Everything else goes to the other stakeholders. So they are not profitable currently. How can I make them profitable, happy? So the missing link is, if you have employees in your organization, figure out a way to make them happy. One quick example and then we'll close. Four Seasons Hotels and Resorts. Have you heard of this? Yesterday we discussed it, right? It's a classic example that how a company makes its clients happy. Right? What do? Every year, suppose you want a 15-day holiday, right? They apply 15-day holiday or 20 days or 10 days, whatever. What Four Seasons management does is, they say, if you are going on a vacation, why don't you get $100? No less than that. Not every employee can afford it, right? So what the company says, you don't have to pay for it. It's on us. You experience firsthand what it is to be a customer. So your 15-day stay at any Four Seasons hotel in the world is on us. Are you listening? It's an expensive affair. Some companies will say it's a cost. Anybody who learns economics, cost and investment, you see it as an investment. Then you come out after 15 days, you know what your customers want. So now you're happy. There are n number of examples like this. So there are three parties in any service encounter. Who are those three parties? Draw a triangle. Draw a triangle. Anybody who does not know a triangle? Now I'm not belittling you. There are many people in this world who don't know what is a triangle. If you read this book, there is a book called Think Again. I urge all of you to buy this book, probably $400 rupees on Amazon. Think Again. The beauty of that book is, the book says, never fail to acknowledge what you don't know. Only if you know what you don't know, you will know a lot. Right? So draw the triangle. The top of the triangle, company or service company, service firm. Bottom of the company, left side of the triangle, customer. And the right side, employees. And in the middle, you write service triangle. So what you have learned in last 20 minutes is service triangle. So what is your job? Your job is to manage this triangle. The interaction between customer and company, the interaction between customer and employees, and the interaction between employees and companies. So service management is not easy. You need to be good at three things. Make a note. 1, marketing management. 2, human resource management. 3, can anyone guess which is the third one? Operations management. So to manage a service, you need to be a champion of all these three. You cannot manage service if you know only marketing. You cannot manage service if you only know human resource management. You cannot manage service if you only know operations management. So I often say, service is a child of three parents: marketing management, human resource management, operations management. That's the key takeaway from today. Thank you very much. We'll go break for lunch. Thank you.